Hi, everyone. It's great to be here today at the World Retail Congress with you. So I am Lucas Perraudin. I am one of the founders of a company that's called Moula Digital. We are a consultancy firm. We are specialized in commerce transformation, which means we're helping global brands and retailers to understand the deep impact of technology change on their business model and their future. We do this by working on three things. We work on strategy, we work on people, and we work on technology. We do a number of things like revenue and margin models change, sales and marketing channels. We work with investors. We do a ton of organizational change, leadership education, governance. And on the technology side, we don't sell technology. We have no technology to sell. We advise our clients to make the right choices when it comes to technology choice for the future of their balance sheet and P&L. These are some of the incredible brands that are trusting us to work on commerce transformation. Among others, I realize in the lineup of the Congress, there are a couple more that are present. So thank you very much for your trust, and thank you for your business. So today, we are going to focus on the incredible tech news cycle of the last 12 months, where every other week, the next big thing comes out. But before we do this, we're going to dial back 5 years. What you're looking at is a typical customer journey of 2018, just 5 years ago. On the left-hand side and middle is awareness and consideration. On the right-hand side is where people finally bought. Everything in pink is a digital touch point. Everything in blue is a physical touch point. And what you see is people bouncing around. Maybe they've seen a TV ad, and then they go search on Google, then get targeted on social networks. And most of the time, they went and bought from physical store, and e-commerce was the thing. But for most industry, it would be a sub 10% thing, maybe sub 20% thing. Fast forward 5 years in the pandemic, this is us today. What has changed on this slide is, well, there's a lot more pink. There's more tech. Our digital life has exploded over the last 5 years. The pre-purchase funnel has become digital. And the purchase funnel itself, e-commerce has doubled or tripled for most of the industry. Most of you probably acknowledge that it's 2 to 3 times what it was 5 years ago. What we see as well is the emergence of new transaction points. Social commerce is happening, messaging commerce is happening, and mixed reality commerce is happening. If I take this forward, by the end of this decade, this is probably what it will look like. A lot more pink, a lot more tech, a lot more touch points, and a lot more places to buy from for customers. And that's great for customers, by the way. It's optionality, it's less friction in the customer journey. It's a bit more difficult for retailers and brands because it's a more complexity to handle. By the way, that's why we exist, is to deal with this and build P&Ls and balance sheets that deal with this. Now, today we are going to focus on the last 12 months. I'm talking very fast because a lot happened over the last 12 months. What happened over the last 12 months in terms of tech news cycle will shape the next 10 years of commerce, and we only have 15 minutes to talk about it. And I actually used 3 already, so you're going to hear me speaking very, very fast right now. This is what it feels like. I was looking for an image to illustrate what's going on. It feels like this turmoil, this tsunami, this tidal wave of news all the time that business people have to deal with and understand. What does it mean for me? What does it mean for my business? What does it mean for the world? And by the way, that image was generated by AI. I didn't have to do anything. There's no rights on this image. I just had to go in Midjourney and type this, and it gave me the image back, and I chose it. So what's been in the news cycle in tech over the last 12 months? There's been a few things around privacy. You might have heard the word ChatGPT over the last few weeks. If you haven't, you were probably not on this planet. You've heard the word metaverse. I was going to say Meta and TikTok are on the news every other week. They're actually on the news twice a day. There's always something happening with these guys in tech. The success of TikTok against Instagram changing its algorithm, and then the TikTok ban. And there's payment in WhatsApp now. Every day there's tech news about these guys. And just 1 year ago, I was here, and all the hype was NFT and crypto, and there's been quite a few things happening for good and for bad in NFT and crypto. If you want to know what type of economic forces are behind all these topics, and I'm not going to go through all of this, but some of it, privacy, there's a regulation topic, but privacy is mostly a case of Apple against the rest of the tech world. The decisions Apple has taken on privacy has cost about $30 billion of margin for the GAFA, the tech world out there, the Googles, the Facebooks, the TikToks. In 2022, it's probably going to cost another $50 billion this year. And you've probably paid for it because Targeting and converting your customers has become more expensive as a result of these decisions. ChatGPT is a fight between OpenAI and Microsoft on one side against Google for supremacy on AI, and there's a couple of other players that have AI capabilities that decided to join the game. Metaverse, what can I say? Disclaimer, I've worked at a company called Facebook for 4 years. I was leading the metaverse stuff for EMEA, so there's a bunch of things happening on that side. ByteDance, so TikTok is in there with Pico. Apple will probably come with a device by end of this year, if not by end of next year. Meta and TikTok, like I said, there's news every day. The latest one today is, as of today, you can use your WhatsApp account with 2 different phones. And there's going to be another news tomorrow. Don't worry about it. There's always something going on. And NFT and crypto, NFT, there's been a hype, there's been a crash. You know, FTX was in the news. They wiped out, what was it, $40 billion in one day. That's a world record. So now, the reason I'm here is I'm going to provide you with what I think is the best way to look at this. If you have investment to make, if you're in a business, if you're a brand, if you're a retailer, this is very confusing. How to think about the amount of investment you should have in all of these technologies. The first disclaimer I have to give you is I'm not coming with just insights, I'm coming with a point of view. It's a very well-informed point of view. I know a lot of people in all the companies that I mentioned. I worked in some of them. But I'm going to get some of this wrong. I'm going to get some of this right. Probably directionally will be OK. The other disclaimer I have for you is what we're going to do right now is try to understand whether any of this tech is going to become mainstream in such a way that we have to change the way we do business because of that. We're not discussing whether it's good or bad. We're not discussing whether it's real or bullshit, because you can hear this sometimes. We only try to understand, is it going to be adopted in such a way that we have to modify our business practice because of them? And the best way I have for you to think about this is look at this on 2 axes. What are the odds of any one of these techs to become mainstream? They don't have all the same chances. Some are more obvious than others. And the other one is, if they do become mainstream, when are they becoming mainstreams? In other terms, what are my odds of return if I invest, and what's my timing of return if I invest? If you think about privacy, everything around privacy is a right here, right now thing. Like I said, you're already paying your ads conversion more because of the privacy change, and there's more changes ahead. There will be more clamp. So privacy has a business impact that is here and now. Everything that happens with Meta and TikTok is a here and now thing, and it has a certain impact on the way people inform themselves, the way they shop, the way they think about the world. So everything they do. Why? Because there's 4 billion people a day into social platforms. Half of the time we spend online globally is spent on social platforms. 2 to 3 hours a day. By the way, if you're in Nigeria, if you're in the US, if you're in Japan, or if you're in the UK, it's all the same. It's a global behavior. So everything they do has an impact. ChatGPT, AI in general, there's a question whether AI will change the world. I can tell you, AI is behind every single digital platform in the world. It has already changed the world. You haven't seen it, it wasn't public, but generative AI will change even more. Large language models will change the way we create things, the way we interact with customers, the productivity of a lot of companies within 24 to 36 months. The way we create content will change because of generative AI. The way we think about royalties and rights will change. Metaverse. Sorry, I'm hiding it. It's all the way here. So I worked 4 years in the metaverse in a company that was then called Facebook. I left before it was called Meta, or just when it was called Meta. I'm giving it slightly less than 50% chance to happen. It might or it might not happen. I don't know that we want to spend time immersed for a long period of time every day, billions of us, into virtual universes. I don't know that. I'm not quite sure. One thing I'm sure about, if it does happen, you have 10 years. And don't just take my word for it. Like Mark Zuckerberg would say this every time he talks about the metaverse. He would tell you, we're 10 years away, there's so much tech, we need to invent stuff we don't know before it happens, so it's a 10-year thing. Crypto. There was a crypto hype, there was a crypto crash, now there's crypto regulation. The thing with crypto regulation, it's reducing the odds of crypto becoming a mainstream thing, because we don't know if it's going to be an asset or if it's going to be a commodity, if there's going to be consistency of regulation across continents, in which case you can't use it the same way everywhere. So it's less likely to be a thing that it was some time ago, and it will take the time for regulation to land, which is 4 or 5 years before we know. NFT. Are billions of people going to think that it's as important to own digital goods as physical goods? I think there's a small chance of this happening. There is a chance. There are black swans. It might happen. But if it does happen, it's going to take a long time, and it will take a long time to convince billions of people to make that happen. Now, this is the news cycle, and we are in a retail forum, and there's business people. So you might ask, okay, what's the point? What's the business cycle? What's the influence on it? Well, privacy is leading to cookieless commerce, which means we'll have to modify the way we target and convert customers on digital platforms. Otherwise, it's just going to be too expensive, and we're going to lose share. The combination of what Meta is doing with WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger together with large language model is leading to the emergence of conversational commerce. You can have a robot conversation in a conversation app, and it's very satisfying. Meta, TikTok, actually Pico, which belongs to ByteDance, and some other players, one which has a fruit in their logo, are all working on AR/VR, trying to make AR/VR commerce a thing. It might take 10 years, but that's what commerce will become. Meta and TikTok are, as we speak, it's a key priority for them, incredibly busy making social networks, gigantic global malls, where people have incredible buying experiences, and that's happening within the next few months. I would say 12 to 24 months, it will be a mainstream thing. And NFT and crypto are the basis for Web3 commerce. So if you plot commerce evolution prediction on the slide now, cookieless commerce is the thing, social commerce will be a thing within 24 months, 24 to 36 months, you'll have conversational commerce across the world available. AR/VR commerce might be a thing, but it will take 10 years before we're there, and Web3 commerce might be a thing, and if it does become a thing, it will take quite a long time. Now, you might decide to invest in any one of these tech, because having the slightest chance means it might happen. There are things you must do if you want to invest in them. There are things you can do, and there are things you could do. If you want to work in cookieless commerce, you have to invest in your first-party data, the data you capture directly from your customers. Cookies are third-party data, they're going away. You're going to have more touch points with your customers, structure your data, and have APIs, which is data exchange process, so you can use your own data a lot more. Not just for you. Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok will ask you for your first-party data so that their AI can guess who they should go and target now because they don't have access to cookie anymore. It's incredibly important across all the platforms. You can do retail marketing if you're a retailer. It's all the hype right now. Just be very clear about what it takes to owning, monetizing, and running a commerce platform, a digital commerce platform. A lot of retailers are not really clear about this. They go in the adventure, and then it doesn't work because the bar is very high. For social, for every single digital platform out there, you're going to need your data. You're going to need your data exchange. For social, you're going to have to add your marketing content and your catalog. Social commerce, the shopping experience happens off premises, so you have to feed the algorithm with your catalog and your experience so you can reconstruct it for the customers on your behalf. You can do creator commerce, you can work with influencers, it might unlock new audiences for you, it might drive brand engagement for you, and it will give you the right tone of voice for some of these social networks. You could do live commerce. If you're not in China, just be aware it's not going to be a massive channel for you. It's more going to be a PR thing or brand activation thing. Messaging commerce. If you want to do commerce in WhatsApp, in Facebook Messenger, you need your data, you need your exchange, you need your content. But to your content, you'll have to add your customer exchange content. You'll have to tell how you interact with your customers, kind of an FAQ for customers so that the robots can have conversations with your customers. Then you could use cloud-based API, you could do Microsoft Azure OpenAI and give them all this data and you have nothing to do, and then the bot will have a conversation with your customer. If you want something better, you can fine-tune an AI model. You can take GPT-4, give it a bunch of questions and answers for your customer, and it will learn to be very, very good at answering questions to your customers in the pre-sales and post-sales area. You can solve a customer issue for a fraction of a cent, providing the best customer experience you've ever had. Real-time answer to your customer that is relevant to that question. AR/VR is a data platform, it's a digital platform. You need data, you need exchange, you need content, but also you have to adapt the format of this content to AR/VR, which is different from everything you do on your phone and your PC. You can do AR experiences. I actually encourage you to do AR experiences because on the phone, when they're done really well, for certain type of business and audiences, they increase conversion and they reduce return rates on e-commerce, which is very, very good for the P&L. You could do VR experiences, but be aware that VR will be a niche use case for the next 10 years. It's not going to be a mass use case. Not many people, I've seen this thousands of times, not many people like to put a mask on their face and stay immersed for a long time. And by the way, if you care about your hair or your makeup or anything, you do it once, you never do it again, because it messes up everything. Well, that's a lot of people in humanity care about their hair and makeup. Web3, there's nothing you would miss if you don't do anything. What you can do is accept crypto payments, and that will unlock some audiences, and that will unlock some territories for you, maybe. And what you could do is use NFTs for loyalty. I have not seen a lot of what I would call a viable use case for NFTs so far, but in certain cases, for certain types of retailing and businesses like ticketing, sporting events, NFT makes sense because they guarantee authenticity, scarcity. So you could do it, but you don't have to do it. That's the advice I have for you today. I will leave you with one last advice. As you can see, there's a common theme on the bottom of that slide. Things you must do. The world is going more digital. Digital relies on data. Third-party data is going away. You have to acquire structure and exchange as much first-party data as you can. Otherwise, it will be too expensive to find and convert customers. This can't be a CTO conversation. This can't be a CMO conversation. That's a board conversation. Your board needs to understand how much resources need to be dedicated to your data and content strategy. If they don't, you need to train them, and you need to put this on the agenda. Otherwise, it's only going to get harder as the world gets more digital. And that's my last message for today. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon.